Today we're talking about the new Sigma 35mm f1.4 DGDN. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is Anson, and on this channel we talk about filmmaking, specifically budget gear, tutorials, and a behind the scenes look at the projects that I'm working on. So if that's something you're into, consider subscribing. First and foremost, I do want to say that I did receive this lens from Sigma to test out, but as always, they're not requiring I say anything specifically, and so you get my full and honest opinion. Recently, Sigma did release their newest 35mm f1.4 for L mount and E mount mirrorless cameras. And this is part of their DGDN lineup. And so with that in mind, we are going to break down this review by image quality, build quality, my overall thoughts, / who I think could be useful for. And let's start with image quality. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that 35mm is probably one of my favorite focal lengths. It's not too wide, it's also not too telephoto. I use it a lot with the Pocket 4K and 6K, and as well as the Sigma FP. Now with this 35mm being f1.4, you are gonna get some really good subject isolation and bokeh, get that dreamy cinematic look. Now the other thing I want to address is focus breathing. There is going to be some pretty visible focus breathing with this lens. And then from there, let's talk about overall sharpness. Just like any Sigma lens, you should not be surprised that you're going to see a good amount of sharpness with this lens. Now, something that was surprising is I did notice a lot more softness in the corners and in the edges, but again, that comes up to preference. A lot of people diss on Sigma lenses because they're too sharp. They're photo lenses that you're using in cinema scenarios, and so having something like a little bit more softer edges or corners may actually benefit some filmmakers if they want that more filmic or imperfect look that happens with some more cinema style lenses. And so having softer edges or corners may actually be a plus for some people, but that's something you do want to be aware of when you do buy this lens. Now moving away from image quality, let's talk about build quality. Just like any other art series lens, this lens has a great build quality, great materials. It feels very good in the hand and is very sturdy. Now talking about build and kind of build features, something you're going to notice right away is that this is a focus by wire lens. Having a focus by wire lens can drive some people crazy, myself included. But that being said, I do feel like even though it's focused by wire, it is still more of a linear focus. And so if you're pulling or racking focus, you will have a better experience than some other focus by wire lenses. Now I do want to speak really quick to the declicked aperture, because you do see this with other DGDN art series lenses where you can control the aperture manually. Now before you get excited about this, something I do want to mention about the manual focusing rings with the Sigma art series lenses is that even though you can declick them, and in an ideal world as a filmmaker that's a plus, something you will notice is that even when it's declicked, when you move the aperture ring, there is a delay and there seems to be steps still. So even though the aperture can be declicked, it doesn't really offer you the same thing that it would if you use a cinema lens that has an actual manual aperture ring that you can turn manually. It's kind of redundant. We'll just keep on going. So while I appreciate the fact that it's there, I really can't use it in a scenario where I'm trying to change the aperture to go from an inside to outside shot or something like that. And so between image quality and build quality, what are my overall thoughts and who would I recommend this for? It is a little bit softer in the corner and the edges, but overall it is still very sharp. Color reproduction is very good. It does suffer a little bit from focus breathing, but honestly that's kind of to be expected from some photocentric lenses. Now if you do want more of a tactile focusing experience, you don't necessarily need to go full out and go with the Sigma Cine lenses. You can just go with the HSM lenses that Sigma has originally with the art series, and you can go with that 35mm that's made for Canon or Nikon and adapt it to the camera that you're using, and that would give you a slightly better, more reliable manual focusing system. Now if you do want to go full out and have a better manual focusing, more reliable manual focusing experience and aperture control and a smooth aperture control with that, that's when you may want to spend some bones on bones? What? That's when you may want to spend a little more money on the Sigma Cine lens. I'm just gonna stop. But if that's not a concern for you, you're more of a run and gun shooter, you need something light and compact, then obviously go with the DGDN lens, especially if you're using an E or L mount camera. You can really benefit from the new Sigma 35mm f1.4 DGDN. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Stay safe, be happy, support each other. Wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace. Another one in the books. Another one in the books. Do you think they like that? I think they'll like that. I'm trying to wipe off my slate here. Oh, by the way, Thanks for letting me wear the jacket.